everyone, my name is Ibreez Ajaz and I work as a doctor in the NHS. I want to thank you all for joining me on another episode of our InFocus series where we condense information into snippet videos so you can get exactly the information you need to know in a short amount of time. Today's topic is the Professional and Linguistics Assessment Board, or the PLAB exams. Alright, I'm going to start this off with a huge important thing that you all need to keep in mind. You cannot appear for PLAB 2 until you've cleared PLAB 1. Now, keeping that in mind, let's talk about the requirements for PLAB 1. First and foremost, you must have passed and cleared your final medical exams and passed your medical college. After this, you need to have appeared in one of the 2 English proficiency exams accepted by the GMC, either the IELTS or the OET. Now let's talk about PLAB 1. PLAB 1 is offered 4 times a year in the United Kingdom and 2 times a year in overseas. For the 4 times a year that it's offered in the United Kingdom, the months are March, June, September, and November. Overseas, it's only offered in March and November, but that doesn't mean if the country that you originate from doesn't have any more seats or doesn't offer the exam, you can't go somewhere else to take it. You can take it in any exam center where you have a valid visa to enter the country, and you can even take it in the United Kingdom if you wish. Yes, you can take it even in June and September in the United Kingdom, so long as you manage to obtain a PLAB 1 visa. Okay, now let's discuss about the PLAB 1 exam itself. It is a 180 multiple choice question based exam that you must complete within 3 hours. It's difficult to really say what is the passing mark, since essentially the score is based on an aggregated range of everyone's marks from whoever appeared in that day. But you should try and at least aim for 65% when you do the mock exams so that you have a general idea of how you're improving and what you need to improve on. Now, about how to prepare for PLAB 1. This is something that everyone would want to know, because without proper preparation for this exam, you can hardly begin your road to UK. Our website extensively mentions all the materials and has a lot of tips about how you can best prepare for the exam. But my personal tip for you guys is to use Patient Info. It is a website that has all the resources and references that you would need to know if you want to really kind of understand why an answer is this way or what is the explanation for something. It's great, it's free, and is easily available to you. Now let's talk about the next most important thing, the cost of the PLAB 1 exam. It costs £230, and it is only payable by credit card or by UK-based debit cards. This fee can be paid by anyone. It doesn't have to be paid by you. It can be paid by a family member, it can be paid by a friend. You don't need to stress out about who pays for it so long as it's paid for. Now let's talk about the PLAB 2 exam. The requirements for the PLAB 2 exam essentially are that you must have passed the PLAB 1 exam and it must still be valid. The validity for the exam being 2 years. You do not need to take the IELTS or OET again in order to sit for PLAB 2, even if it's expired. PLAB 2 is offered only in the United Kingdom, and according to the GMC website, they've now increased their centers. It only used to be offered in Manchester, but now you can go either to Manchester, Cambridge, or London in order to appear for the PLAB 2 exam. For the most part, it's offered throughout the year, but there are certain times of the year, like around the holiday season, where they don't offer any exams. As soon as you've cleared PLAB 1, you can see the available dates for PLAB 2 in your GMC online account. After you book and confirm your PLAB 2 exam, you will receive an email confirmation. On that email confirmation, you will be told what you need to bring, where you need to go, and what time you need to be there. Please do not be late to your PLAB 2 exam. If you are late, they will not allow you to enter the exam hall and you will not be able to appear in a PLAB 2 exam, which can be extremely frustrating because as is, the exam is very difficult and time consuming to prepare for, and you don't want all of it to go to waste just because you were late. Now, before you have the actual exam, you're going to be taken into a room. You'll have a little pep talk by the people who'll be taking the exam that day. There's going to be coffee, there's going to be tea, there's going to be biscuits. It's basically a nice way to help them get you to relax a little bit right before your exam. They'll also show you a video, which we have on our website in our What to Expect for the PLAB exams, which they will kind of give you a breakdown about what you can hope to expect for the exam that day and how many stations and what kind of stations there'll be. There are 20 stations in the PLAB exam, 2 of which are rest stations, and 18 are actual practical OSCE stations that you have to go and perform in. Sometimes you'll find out, okay, well, one of these are a pilot station, and when you get your results, you'll only see 17 stations, or perhaps somebody didn't appear in the exam that day to be a proctor or to be an examiner, and they've only put up 17 stations. But that's not going to change anything. They're going to readjust the scores accordingly. You need to pass 11 out of 18 stations, or 10 out of 17, if for some reason there's one less, in order to be considered pass in that portion of the PLAB 2 exam. The other portion is based on the scores that you receive, the marks that you receive in each station. This is difficult to say, well, how many marks or what score do you exactly need in order to pass? Because just like with PLAB 1, it's based on the results of everyone else that's appeared for the exam that day. Everyone will face the same scenarios and same situations, so they will be marked individually, and based on the average of those results, everyone will be totaled up and it'll be decided what score you get. So whatever the average is for that score, if you get above that and you meet the minimum requirements in the stations, you will have passed the PLAB 2 exam. I want to clarify one point very, very clearly. You must pass both portions of the PLAB 2 exam. What I mean by that is you must pass in the minimum amount of stations, and you must also get the minimum average score. If you get the minimum amount of stations to pass, but unfortunately your score falls below what they have decided to be the pass mark, you will not have passed PLAB 2. Likewise, if you meet the requirements of the minimum score for PLAB 2, but you do not meet the requirements for the minimum stations required to pass for PLAB 2, you will not have passed PLAB 2. Now let's talk about how to prepare for PLAB 2. This is probably the most controversial question in most of the Facebook forums, because everyone will want to talk about this academy or that academy or how they best prepared. Honestly, the academies, if you choose to go to one, is just 30% of your prep. 70% of your prep for the PLAB 2 exam is you, how well you present yourself in the exam hall. Keep in mind, you are a doctor. You know how to treat a patient. But this exam is not about perfect treatment or perfect management. It's about effective and clear communication with the patient. Are you listening to them? Are you understanding their feelings? Are you doing what they want you to do for them? It's not just about throwing them the treatment. Oh, I know you have this cough, so here's the medication for the cough. So keep that in mind when you appear in the PLAB 2 exam. Be natural, be you, and have some emotion. In a lot of countries where we all may come from, we realize that when it comes to being a doctor, it's more about having a kind of stoic nature and going in there and telling the patient, this is what needs to be done and you need to do it. But that's not how it works in the United Kingdom and in many places in the West. You have to be able to understand the problems that the patient has come to you, and you want them to know that you empathize, that you sympathize, that you are there to make them better. You're not just there to give them a prescription. Let's talk about cost now. The PLAB 2 exam costs £840. Just like with a PLAB 1 exam, it can be paid by credit card or by a UK-based debit card. And again, just like PLAB 1, anyone can pay for this exam. It doesn't have to be you. It can be your friend. It can be some family member. So long as it's paid for, it doesn't matter who pays for it. Since the PLAB 2 exam is only offered in the United Kingdom, come what may, you have to come to the UK in order to prepare and appear for the exam. So, the things you need to first keep in mind is if you currently have a valid tourist visa to the United Kingdom, or any sort of visa to the United Kingdom, or if you currently are in the United Kingdom or live in the United Kingdom on any sort of a visa, you can appear in the PLAB 2 exam. There's nothing special or extra that you have to do. But for those of you that require a PLAB 2 visa, there are some things that you need to keep in mind regarding how to apply for a PLAB visa and ensuring that you have the proper finances. A lot of times people want to know, well, can I be employed? Do I have to be employed? Can I be unemployed? And all of these things are mentioned extensively on our website. What is a good sponsor and what kind of papers you should present to the UKVI in order to ensure that you have a PLAB 2 visa. Especially important is making sure that you apply for the right type of visa in order to get your PLAB 2 done. So takeaways from today's video: medical degree and IELTS or OET before PLAB 1, PLAB 1 before PLAB 2, PLAB 2 only in the UK, and you require a valid visa, and anyone can pay for your exams. Okay guys, thank you so much for joining me on another video in our InFocus series. If you still have any questions or confusion about anything at all that I mentioned in today's video, please don't hesitate to comment below. If you have any suggestions for another topic that you would like to have covered in our InFocus series, please again comment that below. And as always, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram.